The day my daughter-in-law, Vanessa, mocked my age, I felt a chill deeper than the autumn wind rattling my windows. I was 73, sitting in my cozy living room in Willow Creek, Ohio, knitting a scarf for my grandson, Ethan. My son, James, had just called, inviting me to their annual Thanksgiving dinner, a tradition I'd cherished since he married Vanessa 15 years ago. But when I arrived, her words cut like a knife. "Oh, Eleanor, you're moving so slow today," she laughed, her voice dripping with disdain as she adjusted her designer blouse. "Maybe it's time to let the old folks stay home next year. We need energy for the party." James shifted uncomfortably but said nothing, his silence louder than her insult. If you're watching this, please hit subscribe to Granny Untold Stories and leave a comment, tell me your age and where you're from. We might feature you in our next video. Now, let me take you back to that moment and show you how I turned their cruelty into my triumph. I dressed carefully that day, wearing a soft gray sweater and the pearl necklace James gave me for my 60th birthday. My arthritis made my steps deliberate, but I'd managed the drive to their sprawling new house, a testament to the $50,000 I'd lent them for the down payment years ago. Ethan, now 12, ran to hug me, his smile a balm against Vanessa's sneer. "Grandma, you made it," he said, his voice bright. But Vanessa's eyes narrowed as she took in my cane. "Eleanor, you really should think about a retirement home," she added, loud enough for the guests to hear. "It's safer for someone your age." I forced a smile, my heart sinking. James mumbled, "Mom, she's just joking," but his eyes avoided mine. The room buzzed with laughter from their friends, young lawyers and socialites Vanessa adored. I sat by the fireplace, knitting forgotten, as Vanessa flitted around, her heels clicking like a metronome of my humiliation. That night, driving home through the dark, I whispered to myself, "They think I'm done. But I've got one card left to play." I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table, the same one where James learned to tie his shoes, and pulled out a ledger from the drawer. My life was etched in those pages, 40 years as a school librarian, saving every dime, and the $300,000 insurance payout after my husband, Robert, passed 20 years ago. I'd invested wisely, buying a rental property in Columbus that now fetched $3,500 a month and a small vineyard in Napa Valley, worth $1.2 million. My total worth was $1.8 million, a secret I'd kept even from James, planning to surprise him with it for his 50th birthday next year. But Vanessa's words, "Let the old folks stay home," changed everything. The next morning, I called my friend and attorney, Clara Bennett, a no-nonsense woman who'd handled Robert's estate. "Clara," I said, voice steady despite the ache in my chest, "I need to rewrite my will. James and Vanessa don't get a cent." Clara paused, her breath audible. "Eleanor, are you sure? This is your son." I looked at the photo of James on my mantle, his graduation cap askew, grinning with pride. "He stood by while she mocked me," I said. "I'm giving it to the Willow Creek Community Library. They gave me a job, a purpose, when I was widowed. They deserve it more." Clara arrived that afternoon, her briefcase bulging with papers. We sat at my table, the scent of chamomile tea filling the air. I handed her the ledger, my hands trembling slightly. "This is everything," I said. "The vineyard, the rental, my savings, $1.8 million. All to the library, with a trust for Ethan's education, $200,000, untouchable by his parents." Clara nodded, scribbling notes. "And James?" she asked. "A letter," I replied. "He needs to understand." I spent the evening writing it, the pen heavy in my hand. "James, I raised you with love, sacrificed my dreams for yours. I lent you money for your house, cheered your successes. But when Vanessa mocked my age, you stayed silent. So I'm giving my legacy to those who valued me. Ethan gets a trust, use it wisely." You get this truth, silence is a choice. Eleanor. I sealed it, my signature firm, and felt a weight lift, replaced by a quiet resolve. But I needed more. I called my neighbor, Tom, a retired detective. Tom, I said, I need to know what James and Vanessa are planning. Dig into their finances. Tom chuckled. Give me a week, Ellie. I hung up, sipped my tea, and watched the leaves fall outside. They thought I was frail, but I was a lioness guarding her pride. A week later, Tom delivered his report, and it was a gut punch. James's law practice was struggling, $150,000 in debt from a failed case. Vanessa had racked up $80,000 in credit card debt, mostly on luxury trips and designer bags. They'd taken a third mortgage on the house, and Vanessa had asked a financial advisor about accessing my assets if I were incapacitated. They weren't just mocking me, they were plotting to take everything. I decided to test them. I called James, voice weak. Son, my arthritis is worse. I might need help managing my affairs. Can you come by? His response was instant. Of course, Mom. Vanessa and I will be there tomorrow. I smiled into the phone. Bring the family. I've got something to discuss. The next day, they arrived, James in a crisp suit, Vanessa in heels, Ethan trailing behind with a shy smile. I served coffee, my hand steady despite the tremor I faked. I've been thinking, I said, maybe Vanessa's right about a retirement home. I've updated my will to give you power of attorney. James's eyes lit up, and Vanessa leaned forward, her smile predatory. That's wonderful, Eleanor, she purred. We'll find you a nice place. Ethan looked confused but said nothing. I slid an envelope across the table. Sign this first, it's a preliminary agreement. It was a fake power of attorney, granting them access to a non-existent $50,000 account. James signed eagerly, Vanessa adding her flourish. Perfect, she said. We'll handle everything. I nodded, hiding my disgust. I'll finalize it next week. Let's celebrate with dinner. That night, I hosted them at my house, a rare treat. Vanessa brought a bottle of wine, insisting I try it. It's special, Eleanor, she said, pouring a glass. I watched her hands, noting the slight tremble as she added something from a small vial. My stomach churned, but I smiled. Thank you, dear. I excused myself, swapped my glass with hers when she turned, and watched her sip. Within minutes, her face flushed, and she stumbled, blaming the alcohol. I called it a night, knowing Detective Lisa Carter, a friend from the library board, was on standby. The next morning, Lisa arrived with a warrant. Eleanor, she said, we tested the wine. It had a sedative, low dose, but enough to incapacitate you. Vanessa's prints are on the vial. I nodded, my heart pounding. Bring them in. James and Vanessa arrived, smug, until Lisa stepped forward. Vanessa Harris, you're under investigation for attempted fraud and endangerment, she said, holding up the vial evidence. The wine from last night contained a controlled substance. Vanessa's face paled. This is ridiculous. I didn't. I stood, cane in hand, voice firm. I saw you, Vanessa. You slipped something in my glass. I switched it. You drank it yourself. James turned to her, horrified. You did what? Vanessa stammered, it was just to calm her, make her sign the papers. Lisa cuffed her. You'll need to explain that to a judge. As Vanessa was led away, James sank into a chair. Mom, I didn't know. I swear. We're in debt, the firm, the house. I looked at him, my son, now a stranger. You knew enough, James. You let her mock me, plot against me. You chose her over me. I handed him an envelope. This is your copy of my will. He opened it, his hands shaking as he read. The $1.8 million vineyard, rental, savings went to the Willow Creek Community Library. Ethan's $200,000 trust was secure. The letter inside echoed my kitchen draft, ending with, "Silence is a choice." James's eyes filled with tears. "Mom, please. We can fix this." I shook my head. "You fix yourself, James. Ethan deserves better." The library called that afternoon, thrilled about the donation. They planned a Harris reading room in my honor. 6 months later, I sat on my new porch in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, the ocean breeze ruffling my gray hair. Vanessa got probation for fraud, her reputation shattered. James lost clients, his practice teetering, but he's trying to rebuild, for Ethan. My grandson visits every weekend, his laughter filling the cottage I bought with the last of my personal savings, $100,000. "Grandma Ellie," he said last time, "can we read together?" I hugged him, my heart mending. The library wing opened last month, a quiet celebration with books and children's laughter. A plaque reads, "In memory of Eleanor Harris, keeper of stories." I don't need the money, I needed respect. Vanessa and James thought my age made me weak, but it made me wise. I'd spent decades building a life for my son, but he didn't want me in it. So I gave it to those who did. Sometimes, I think of that Thanksgiving, Vanessa's laugh echoing. I don't hate her, I pity her. Greed blinded them both. The library sent me a photo of the reading room, and I framed it beside Robert's picture. I sleep well now, the sound of waves my lullaby. If James ever wonders where it went wrong, he can look at that empty chair at his table. That's the legacy I left him. Thanks for joining Granny Untold Stories. Subscribe, share your thoughts below. What would you do in my shoes? Until next time, keep your spirit strong and your heart open.